Part 80. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 791. She feels that God is quite fair this time. At least every time Sulu tried to do something bad, she got retribution in the end. Good. Once the matter is resolved, she can practice piano with peace of mind. After school starts, she will start competing for the Lily Award. The Lily Award is a competition that combines folk music and Western music. It is a competition that covers the widest range of musical instruments and is also the most authoritative music award in China. Fu Nanli called Wenqiao, did I realize it later? I heard that you were on the hot search. Wenqiao was not surprised. After all, Fu Nanli was not an idler who surfed the internet with his mobile phone all day long. Well, it was on the hot search, but it's okay now. That Wen Xian threw firecrackers in your face, didn't he? That boy is such a bastard. Wen Xiao chuckled softly, it's okay, I'm not injured, and he has suffered the consequences. He should not dare to mess with me again in the future. In Kyoto, Zhou Tao got off the plane and saw a few missed calls. She clicked on WeChat and found that Lu Yuyu had sent her a lot of messages. Start from the beginning and say that she was on the trending search and that she was being tricked into the trending search. Let her not mind if she sees it, the company will take care of it. After scrolling back, it didn't take long to find that it was solved. She searched her tag entries again and found no bad rumors, so she felt reassured. The company was very prompt in protecting the reputation of artists. I'm glad she chose Wenqiao. She thought she wouldn't run into Lu Wenzhou when she went to the Lu family's old house. In previous years, although Lu Wenzhou would pay New Year greetings to the old man during the New Year, he would only have a New Year's Eve dinner, or have a meal with the old man at noon on New Year's Day. He doesn't like staying in the old house and being talked about by the old man. The old man just kept talking about being nicer to her, but every time he said it, it made him hate her even more. But today, the taxi stopped at the door at the foot of Luya Mountain, and the housekeeper drove a small sightseeing car to pick her up. They went all the way up the mountain, through the small courtyard, and to the main house. In the living room, he actually saw Lu Wenzhou, Lu Su, and their sister Lu Xiang sitting with the old man drinking kung fu tea. Lu Wenzhou has a sister who is currently living abroad temporarily and rarely comes back. Lu Su called her sister-in-law, and Zhou Tao smiled and whispered, she is no longer sister-in-law. Lu Su's eyes widened, what do you mean? Zhou Tao, literally. It turns out that Lu Wenzhou hasn't told her family yet. She understands that Lu Wenzhou wants her to be the villain. No matter what, this unwilling marriage was caused by herself. The person who tied the bell had to untie it, so she should be the one to explain it herself. The eldest sister of the Lu family is okay with Zhou Tao, but the younger sister of the Lu family, Lu Xiang, dislikes Zhou Tao very much. Moreover, the eldest daughter, who is admired by many stars in Beijing circles, has her own way of doing things and never hides her emotions. After all, in Lu Xiang's eyes, Zhou Tao forcibly fell in love with her second brother. He had never seen such shamelessness. When Zhou Tao entered the living room, Lu Xiang blatantly stretched out his foot to trip her. Speaking of which, when Zhou Tao came here for the first time as the young lady of the Lu family, she was tripped over by Lu Xiang. She was very embarrassed at the time, and even stepped down by herself, saying that Lu Xiang had a childish temper. Lu Su was not at home at the time, the old man was upstairs, and the servants were whispering and laughing at her. Lu Wenzhou didn't say a word to her. Zhou Tao sighed inwardly. In fact, he should have woken up from that time. Now Lu Xiang's feet were stretched out there again, Lu Su pulled her, and Zhou Tao grabbed Lu Su's arm with her back hand. This scene caught Lu Wenzhou's eyes, with gloom and displeasure in his brows. Good morning. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 792. Lu Su patted Lu Xiang on the head. How old are you? Are you childish? Lu Xiang is a sophomore in high school this year. She has an older sister, 2 older brothers, her parents and grandfather, and the whole family dotes on her, which naturally develops her lawless and arrogant character. Lu Xiang pointed at Zhou Tao's nose. You are shameless. Zhou Tao was a little helpless and didn't want to argue with this arrogant young lady. Lu Su lectured his sister. What nonsense are you talking about? She used tricks to marry the second brother, and now she is still entangled with you, the third brother. Zhou Tao let go of Lu Su's arm, almost tripping over someone, and grabbed the man's arm through the sweater. In the eyes of this young lady, she was entangled with the man. Lu Xiang, like her second brother, likes to criticize others, has her own way of doing things, and is extremely willful. Lu Su patted her head again. What nonsense are you talking about? What's so entangled? Do you want me to watch her trip over you and fall to the ground? Lu Xiang, are you too concerned about your sister-in-law? He looked at Zhou Tao with a sharp look in his eyes, as if she was a charmer and a source of trouble. Lu Wenzhou, who was sitting motionless on the sofa, finally stood up and walked over. The only thing Lu Xiang was afraid of was his cold-faced second brother, and he flattered him. Second brother, look at Zhou Tao. Zhou Tao's gaze fell on Lu Wenzhou's face calmly and impartially, and her heart felt calm. Lu Wenzhou instinctively disliked this look, and said coldly, what are you still doing standing here? Come here. Lu Xiang was dumbfounded. His second brother had never talked to Zhou Tao before, without saying a word. Even if it was a cold remark now, it was enough to shock her. The old man came out of the room, and when he saw Zhou Tao, a smile suddenly appeared on his face. The affairs of the Lu and Zhou families were originally very simple. Mr. Lu and Zhou Tao's grandfather were comrades on the battlefield. Zhou Tao's grandfather blocked the bullet for Mr. Lu and fell ill in his leg. Although the Zhou family is not a wealthy family, it is definitely a scholarly family. The old man has always liked Zhou Tao, and Zhou Tao has always liked Lu Wenzhou. Lu Wenzhou became a victim. Now that Zhou Tao thought about it, she was too paranoid, and she was the one who felt sorry for Lu Wenzhou. It's a pity that she wanted to give him a house as compensation, but he didn't want it. She brought a check here today. No matter what, she didn't want to be involved with Lu Wenzhou anymore. She didn't want people to say she owed Lu Wenzhou anything. The only thing she could compensate was money. Tao Zi, why didn't you come here with Wenzhou yesterday? The two sat on the sofa opposite the old man. Zhou Tao lowered his eyes, and then whispered, Grandpa, Lu Wenzhou and I have been divorced. Lu Wenzhou paused, not expecting that she would bring this matter to his grandfather so directly. He was even caught off guard. Her doing this showed that she was indeed not playing hard to get, and that she really no longer wanted the identity of Mrs. Lu. Mr. Lu was stunned for a moment, then looked at Lu Wenzhou angrily. Did you make Tao Zi angry again? Lu Wenzhou's face was gloomy and he had not yet come to his senses. Zhou Tao said quickly, no, Grandpa, I figured it out. Wenzhou has never liked me. It's my fault. I shouldn't have tied him to me from the beginning. I still have to pay attention to things like feelings. It's your wish. Mr. Lu was anxious. Relationships can be cultivated slowly. You are so good. As time goes by, Wenzhou will definitely treat you. Grandpa, we have already received the divorce certificate. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me. The boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 793. Zhou Tao intercepted the old man's words at the right time. As time goes by, love will not last forever, but we will only grow tired of each other. She knew Lu Wenzo, and Lu Wenzo already hated her to the extreme. There was no point in maintaining such a marriage that existed in name only. Hearing this, Lu Wenzo lowered his eyes, not expecting that she would announce the divorce so straightforwardly. Mr. Lu's cheeks twitched. Why didn't you tell me? Wenjo, did you force her to get the divorce certificate? Zhou Tao, no, Grandpa, I took the initiative in everything. I asked for the divorce, and I took the initiative to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau with him to get the divorce certificate. Don't blame him. Mr. Lu's face was full of anxiety. You kid, if you encounter any grievances, you can come to me and I can make the decision for you. Why did you get divorced? Zhou Tao sat next to the old man. Suddenly there was an empty space next to Lu Wenzo, and his eyes dimmed. Zhou Tao shook the old man's hand. Grandpa, since we are divorced, don't think too much. Why don't you accept me as your granddaughter? I will still come to visit you often in the future. No, Lu Wenzo said coldly. Lu Xiang echoed, that's right, Zhou Tao, what are you daydreaming about? Zhou Tao smiled and looked at Lu Wenzo. Since second young master Lu doesn't agree, then forget it. Second young master Lu, this title made Lu Wenzo's face turn colder. When Mr. Lu saw Zhou Tao's resolute attitude, he knew that this marriage was definitely irreversible, and it was definitely his grandson who had made the girl suffer. I can only lament in my heart, you can come over at any time in the future, but I still treat you as my granddaughter-in-law. Zhou Tao looked at him gratefully. Thank you for supporting me. Mr. Lu felt very distressed and touched her head. Stay here for a few days and keep company with this old man like me, okay? I'm sorry, Grandpa, I have to join the crew for filming in 2 days. I may not be able to accompany you for the time being. I will come over to accompany you when my filming is completed, okay? Okay, it's a good thing to be enterprising. If you need help, you must tell Grandpa, you know. At noon, they stayed at the Lu family's mansion for dinner. Lu Xiang's eye knife was over, but Zhou Tao pretended not to see it. Lu Wenzo's expression was not good because Zhou Tao chose to sit next to Lu Su, avoiding him like a god of plague. After eating, Zhou Tao was called to the study by the old man. There was a safe on the wall behind the old man's desk. He reached out and pressed the password, took out a stack of documents from it, and placed it on the table. These are for you. Zhou Tao was a little confused. It's, what? Since you are determined to get a divorce, these are the compensations the divorce will give you. Zhou Tao opened it and saw that there was a building in Kyoto with a total of 18 floors, a whole building, and 2 pieces of land. She is not good at these, but these properties are worth at least hundreds of millions. Her hands shook, and she quickly covered it, saying in a panic, Grandpa, I don't want it. Good boy, you deserve it. You are a serious young lady, Lu. If you get divorced, you should get property compensation. Zhou Tao lowered her eyes. I didn't marry Lu Wenzo because of this. I know you're not here for this, but if Grandpa gives it to you, just keep it. Zhou Tao shook his head. I don't want it. You can keep it for Lu Wenzo. After the divorce, I thought about it. I shouldn't marry him regardless of his wishes. It's not his fault that he doesn't like me. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 794. Mr. Lu sighed, it's my fault. I was too impatient. I thought he would like you if I got married, so I forced him to marry you. It's not been easy for you in the past 2 years. You keep these properties. Zhou Tao solemnly said, I really don't want Grandpa. Taking this large amount of property will weaken my fighting spirit. By then, I will become a wasted person. I still want to fight on my own. Mr. Lu looked at her with admiration. You are good at everything, my kid is not lucky enough to look down on you. I want to see what kind of fortune he can find by then. With this property, Grandpa I will keep it for you, and when one day this old man like me comes back after 100 years, this property in the will also be yours. Zhou Tao felt a little heavy. The only person in this family that made her feel reluctant and guilty was the old man. Thank you for thinking of me. The old man smiled and touched her head. One day you are the daughter-in-law of my Lu family, and you will be a member of my Lu family forever. I will always treat you as one of my own. When Zhou Tao came out of the old man's study, her eyes were a little red. She adjusted her mood and walked up to Lu Wenzhou. I have something to tell you. Lu Xiang jumped up and down. Li, what else do you want to say? What tricks do you want to play? I knew you were playing hard to get. Zhou Tao, you are so clever. Zhou Tao regarded her as nothing and followed Lu Wenzhou to the side hall. What's the matter? Zhou Tao looked at the person in front of her. When she asked Grandpa Lu to adopt her as his granddaughter, the man's naked and unabashed opposition really made her heart twitch. He probably didn't want to have anything to do with her at all. She took out a check from her wallet and stretched it out to Lu Wenzhou. You don't want the house, so you can take this. Lu Wenzhou saw the number above, 1 million, which was a check for 1 million. His eyes were full of anger and his voice was cold. What do you mean? Zhou Tao licked her dry lips. You have been forced to become Zhou Tao's husband for less than 2 years. This is your compensation. From now on, we will never see each other until we die, so I won't owe you anything. Lu Wenzhou took the check and threw it directly in her face. The check was not ordinary paper. It was made of hard paper and hurt Zhou Tao a little when it was hit. The man's furious voice came, keep it for yourself, don't give it to me. The check fell to the ground, and Zhou Tao's cheek turned visibly red from being hit by the check. Lu Wenzhou instinctively stretched out his hand, and his outstretched hand paused in the air. What is he doing? Zhou Tao rubbed her cheek, then squatted down, picked up the check on the ground, and placed it on the round table nearby. I gave it to you, it's up to you whether you want it or not. She raised her chin, gave herself the last bit of dignity, and then turned and left in front of him. Her back gradually faded away, getting smaller and smaller, and finally disappeared from his eyes. Lu Wenzhou closed his eyes, not knowing what he was upset about. Fu Huaiyang was discharged from the hospital on the 4th day of the Lunar New Year, and Fu Nanli originally did not want to pick him up from the hospital. You'd better go, I'll go with you. I always felt that it would be bad not to go. The old man would definitely make malicious assumptions about her again. Lao Hu drove to Fu's private hospital and met Qiu Ya again outside the ward. Fu Nanli held Wen Qiao's hand, and Wen Qiao also deliberately moved closer to Fu Nanli. The corner of Fu Nanli's mouth curled up. Children like to act possessive in front of Qiu Ya, which is a good thing. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 795. Qiu Ya was not like He Yan and He Qian, she just said hello to Fu Nanli and Wen Qiao generously, and then entered the ward. Fu Nanli said to his mother coldly, why is she always here? Young Master Fu sounded very dissatisfied. Yamingkai rolled her eyes at him, your grandfather liked her and asked her to come here. What can I do? Your grandfather has the final say in the Fu family. I'm just a working girl. In the ward, Qiu Yazheng gently helped the old man sit in the wheelchair. Li Fang said aside, I have almost finished the handover with Dr. Lin. In the future, the old man will be taken care of by Dr. Lin at home. He still needs to pay attention to his recovery. Yamingkai nodded, I know. Li Fang, I will also take the expert team to check every few days. The old man needs to rest and keep his emotions calm. When Wen Qiao went in, the old man didn't give her a good look, and she didn't take it seriously. She walked behind the old man. Qiu Ya was about to reach out to push the wheelchair, but Wen Qiao got there first. Wen Qiao took the armrest of the wheelchair smoothly, and Qiu Ya touched it. Looking up, Ye Mingqiu and Fu Nanli were both looking at her. She smiled and said, "I'll do it." Before the old man came to his senses, Wen Qiao pushed the wheelchair out and said, "I'm strong, just let me push. I won't bother Miss Qiu." Fu Nanli and Ye Mingqiu followed. Qiu Ya looked unhappy. This girl was quite tolerant. Even the old man didn't like her, but she was always able to get closer to him. Miss Qiu seemed to have forgotten that Master Fu didn't like her either, and she didn't always appear in front of Fu Nanli. In the corridor, Fu Huaiyang had a calm face. "You don't need to push me, let Xiao do it." Wen Qiao said calmly, "Miss Qiu is thin and gentle, and has no strength to tie a chicken. Grandpa Fu, since you like her, you should be considerate of her. It is more appropriate for me to do this kind of hard work." Qiu Ya wanted to step forward, but Ye Mingqiu held her hand. "That girl is very strong. She has to do hard work, just let her do it." The little girl wants to change the old man's attitude towards her, so of course her future mother-in-law must provide opportunities. Qiu Ya can't see clearly this strong woman in the business district, Mrs. Fu. Is Mrs. Fu considerate of her? She couldn't see clearly, but the doctors and nurses at the private hospital saw this scene. Everyone knows that Mr. Fu likes the eldest daughter of the Qiu family who plays the violin with great temperament. After all, Miss Qiu comes to visit the old man every day. As long as Miss Qiu is around, the old man is always very happy. And now, I saw Mrs. Fu holding Miss Qiu's arm affectionately. It seems that the elders of the Fu family have expressed their opinions, and they hope that Miss Qiu will move into the Qianshui Lake Mansion and become a young mistress. Also, although the eldest young master likes Wen Qiao, after all, Wen Qiao's background cannot be dealt with, so it is reasonable for the Fu family to look down on him. The wheelchair was pushed out of the small building of the inpatient department. In front of the black luxury car, Wen Qiao stopped, pressed the brake of the wheelchair, then walked to the old man and squatted down. Fu Huaiyang's cheeks twitched and he said coldly, "What are you doing? I'll carry you to the car." "Get started," Fu Huaiyang said angrily. Fu Nanli's heart was a little blocked, and he stretched out his hand to pull her. "No, Uncle Li can just help Grandpa get into the car. His little friend has no prejudices, but Akage treats others to this extent, but Grandpa always gives her a look, and in his eyes, he only feels distressed." You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 796. Fu Huaiyang looked coldly. "I'm not paralyzed yet, so I don't need anyone to carry me." Uncle Li helped the old man up and walked him into the car. Fu Huaiyang looked past Fu Nanli and waved to Qiu Ya. "Xiao, come here." The doctors and nurses who saw him off looked at each other in confusion. Mr. Fu was really merciless to the young master's girlfriend. It was so embarrassing. The person involved, Wen Qiao, didn't feel there was anything to be embarrassed about. Qiu Ya curled her lips, got in the car, and sat next to the old man. The window was half opened. She said goodbye to Ye Mingqiu and Fu Nanli in a polite manner. "I'm sending Grandpa Fu back first." The car slowly drove away from the inpatient department. Ye Mingqiu raised an eyebrow. "Let's go too." Divided into two cars, Fu Nanli's and Wen Qiao's cars followed his mother's car. Fu Nanli held her hand and comforted her. "Don't take what Grandpa said to heart." Wen Qiao squinted at him. "This Qiu Ya is very popular with your grandfather." Fu Nanli held her fingers tightly. Wen Qiao pounced on him and bit him on the neck. Lao Hu and Qin Bei in the front row were motionless and selectively blinded. Fu Nanli grabbed her waist. Her breath was messed up, and her voice was thick. Don't make trouble. Does this girl know what she is doing? After Wen Qiao bid him enough, he let go and pinched his chin. Your face will really cause trouble for me. Qin Bei's brows twitched. Did he get the wrong cards for the two main characters? Forget it, it was his young master who indulged Xiao Wen too much, and this girl dared to say anything. Fu Nanli's eyes were turbulent. He held down her finger with one hand and touched his neck with the other. Wen Qiao's bite was not harsh, but not light either. He was so jealous and blatant. Who would dare to put aside other celebrities' daughters? So intense in front of him. Your face has always caused me trouble. Along the way, the two are competing with each other, who has more love rivals. When they arrived at the Fu family mansion, Fu Nanli pulled someone out of the car. In the living room, Qiu Ya saw the marks on the right side of Fu Nanli's neck at a glance. Very clear tooth marks. Faintly appearing on the edge of the collar of the white shirt. I couldn't help but feel my heart tremble. There was a bite mark that was not there just now in the hospital. It was obvious that Miss Wen, who looked so angry, could no longer hold back in the car. This girl really has two faces. What man can stand such a proactive attitude? When Qiu Ya was thinking about it, Ye Mingkai also saw the bite marks on her son's neck. She couldn't help but hold her forehead. Young people are so playful. Her son's old-fashioned temperament was actually in the car. Thanks to Lao Hu and Qin Bei for their hard work. She was also sure that no one could take advantage of Wen Qiao. Her son had changed too much. The group of people sent the old man to the bedroom, and Dr. Lin put the prepared prescription in a small golden tray. You have to take these medicines. Fu Huayong picked up the pills, swallowed a handful of them, drank 2 sips of water, and asked Uncle Li, how is the farm doing? Behind the mansion to the foot of the mountain, a large piece of land has been designated as an organic farm, close to the golf course. Currently, the seasonal vegetables that can be eaten in February include greens, spinach, cabbage. They are all organic and very healthy. Wen Qiao asked Fu Nanli in a low voice, does your family still have a farm? Fu Nanli nodded. Not far behind, the nutritionist asked someone to open up a large area of land to grow vegetables, saying it is healthier this way. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me. The boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 797. Fu Huayong said, do it well, and from now on the Fu family's vegetables will be picked on their own farm. Don't worry, old man, the vegetables are growing well. Ye Mingkai pushed Fu Nanli to the bedside. Even if it was superficial, he still had to do something. Fu Nanli said a few words of concern as usual. You have a good rest. My mother and I are responsible for things in the company. You don't have to worry about it. I will come back to visit you often. Fu Huayong immediately turned pale when he saw the eye-catching mark on his neck. If looks could kill, Wen Qiao felt like he had died countless times. She didn't understand why the old man suddenly became secretly angry again. Her biting Fu Nanli was not flirting at all. It was just because Qiu Ya was always hanging around in front of their eyes. She was unhappy and wanted to punish Fu Nanli. But in Fu Huayong's eyes, that was completely against Wen Qiao's original intention. He said coldly, everyone, go out. Min Qiu, you stay. Wen Qiao was really confused by Monk Zhang so he was pulled out of the old man's bedroom by Fu Nanli. What happened to your grandfather? Qiu Ya was close to the old man just now, and naturally she could see that the old man also saw the bite mark on Fu Nanli's neck and got angry. With a light chuckle, Miss Wen pretended to be stupid and pretended to be the first. Such an unseemly behavior will definitely not attract Grandpa Fu's attention. He wanted to intimidate her, but he shot himself in the foot. Miss Wen was so clever that she was misled by her cleverness. In the room, Fu Huayong lowered his voice and said, that girl is really not a serious person, she is just fooling around. Ye Mingqiu said, we are young people and we are a young couple. As elders, we don't have to worry so much. Dad, what do you think? Fu Huayong clicked his tongue. The person at the helm of such a large group must not have weaknesses and cannot pamper his significant other too much, otherwise he will be easily taken advantage of. Don't you understand the power of this? Xiao Qiao should not be easily taken advantage of. You still speak for her? She was a disaster in ancient times. How can I rest assured when such a disaster is placed next to Nan Li? Ye Mingqiu, you should believe your grandson. He has only joined the company not long ago. Although the old guys on the board of directors talk a lot behind the scenes, no one dares to go against him openly. The little girl doesn't care about Nan Li either. Well, didn't Fu Zhang plan the car accident? It was that kid who saved him at all costs. Fu Huayong's face turned pale. I'm not an unkind person. I can give Nan Li as much money as she wants after saving her, but she is really not a qualified matron. The Fu family is in her hands. I'm worried. Ye Mingqiu had a headache. Dad, you have just recovered from a serious illness, shall we discuss this matter again? You take good care of yourself first and take your time. You also know your grandson's temperament, so don't push him too hard. Too tight, okay. Fu Huayong said coldly, I put it here. There is only one candidate for my granddaughter-in-law, Qiu Yat. Wen Qiao can't even think of entering the Fu family. Ye Mingqiu used a roundabout tactic. Okay, I'll talk about Nan Li later. Ye Mingqiu left the bedroom, pulled Fu Nanli aside, and said unspeakably, let Xiao Qiao take it easy in the future. Fu Nanli was confused. What do you mean? Ye Mingqiu pointed at his neck. Don't plant it in a conspicuous place. Your grandpa will see it and think Xiao Qiao is some kind of dishonest person. My home management allows me to do more business. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me. The boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 798. Fu Nanli suddenly felt that this time he was really unjust. They had been in love for such a long time and had not received any substantial benefits. Because the little girl bit him in a moment of anger. Others may have thought that he had already done this to the girl. I don't have to worry about the old man's opinion at all times. He is prejudiced against Jiao. No matter what Jiao does, he can pick out the bones from the eggs. Ye Mingqiu clasped her hands and begged him, my ancestor, the old man is not in good health now, please be obedient to me and don't be tough with him, okay? I'm begging you. Fu Nanli responded perfunctorily and took Wen Qiao out. In the car, he took Wen Qiao's hand and touched the bite mark on his neck. You did a good thing. Wen Qiao saw a bruise and said quickly, I bit it too hard. Does it still hurt? Young Master Fu lowered his voice and pressed the person on his chest. That's not the case. What's that? How did the old man look at you just now? It's even more fierce than before. Fu Nanli lowered his eyes and looked at the person on his chest. I thought you couldn't contain your charm in the car. Wen Qiao reacted for half a minute, and slowly asked a question in his mind, am I so immoral in the eyes of others? Fu Nanli pinched her face lovingly, well, your face can easily give people this illusion. Wen Qiao felt a chill on the back of her neck. No wonder the old man looked at her with a complicated and disgusted expression just now. Her lifelong reputation seemed to be destroyed in just one moment. Fu Nanli hugged her and whispered in her ear, you can go anywhere else, just don't let anyone see you. Wen Qiao held her forehead, puzzled that one day she could be associated with such a word as foxy. Lu Yuyu always said that she was a straight girl who didn't understand amorous feelings. Master Fu was really prejudiced against her. She is really not a disaster, she is just an ordinary female college student. On the 7th day of the Lunar New Year, the Spring Festival holiday was over and all companies resumed work. Zhou Tao, Lu Su, and Dong Yao all joined the crew for filming. Fang Duo was free and brought many gifts to Wen Qiao, and she also took over the task of handing out red envelopes to the entire company staff. Wen Qiao made her famous and made her a lot of money. She first set a small goal. She would spend all the money Wen Qiao brought her on Wen Qiao. She is not short of the 1,000 or 8 million. Entertainment companies in the industry are all eyeing Wen Qiao's company, and many want to poach her. For example, Su Lu's employer, Shenhua Entertainment, has always wanted to poach Tong Wei. The TV series made by Fang Duo and Dong Yao became popular and became traffic. And no matter what, movie stars will not be as popular as TV drama actors, and they will not be able to become top-notch. The boss of Shenhua has been working in the industry for many years and has moved from the front to the back. The company has never been a top player in the true sense. In the past, Tang Jin spent a lot of resources and said she was the first sister. In fact, in the past 2 years, resources have become harder to come by year by year. I originally planned to favor Su Lu, but she is a careless person. Some time ago, she insisted on killing Wen Qiao, and the TV series she participated in almost failed to sell. Yang Sheng, the boss of Shenhua, turned his attention to Tong Wei. Tong Wei's acting skills have a lot of room for exploration. If she does it well, she will be the next Best Actress winner, and she will rise to the top in one fell swoop. At Nanqiao Company, Fang Duo gave big red envelopes to every staff member, and then went to Wen Qiao's office to ask for credit. Wen Qiao raised his eyebrows. There are several scripts, you pick one. Tong Wei was also there. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 799. Fang Duo asked, where is Tong Wei? She hasn't filmed for a while. Wen Qiao looked through the script in his hand. Her route is different from yours. She is a movie star and does not need to be overexposed. I haven't found a suitable script for her yet. Then he looked at Tong Wei. Don't worry if the fever subsides, you are not taking the traffic route. Tong Wei smiled, I know. She didn't want to take the traffic route either. Fang Duo sat slumped on the carpet and flipped through a few books. Let's make another urban love drama. Wen Qiao nodded, okay. After the work discussion was over, they went to a fashion dinner together, a party hosted by Beza magazine. The invited guest was Fang Duo. Wen Qiao and the others followed Fang Duo to the party. Fang Duo proudly challenged Lu Yuyu, look, you are now my little follower. Lu Yuyu pushed her head, why are you talking to your vice president? Fang Duo snorted, Wen Qiao, look at her, she's always hitting people, I'm still top-notch after all. Wen Qiao looked at Lu Yuyu, give her some face outside. Fang Duo, did you hear that? Mr. Wen has spoken. When they were noisy, Tong Wei was watching them with a smile. The fashionable dinner was held in a 5-star hotel. After entering the hotel lobby, Wen Qiao was delayed by someone who came to talk to her. Lu Yuyu was always by her side. Fang Duo is a famous person, she is also enthusiastic, and everyone greets her. Only Tong Wei, the popularity of the movie has subsided. She also dresses low-key and has a more reserved temperament. She still came with Fang Duo, so she is a bit unpopular. She took a glass of champagne and retreated to a corner, enjoying herself. Miss Tong. Tong Wei turned around, and she recognized the person in front of her. He was also famous in the past. His name was Yang Sheng, who was now the president of Shenhua. Hello, Tong Wei nodded politely. Yang Sheng pursed his lips towards Fang Duo. Fang Duo from your company is really unparalleled in the limelight. He has received many endorsements, attended many events, and gained nearly 10 million followers on Weibo. It is probably indispensable for the company's private operations. Bar. Tong Wei still had a smile on her face. Fang Duo is friendly and her sister has a lot of fans and her mother has a lot of fans. It is expected that she will become famous. I am happy for her. Yang Sheng added, what about Tong Wei? Your photo of Xiaokong won the International Golden Lion Award. It's been several months and I haven't heard of any action. I feel like Xiao Wen always favors Fang Duo more. Yes, they are alumni, so their relationship must be closer. Tong Wei always has a calm expression, gentle, Mr. Xiao Wen has his own arrangements. It is not convenient to talk to Mr. Yang about internal matters in the company. Yang Sheng patted her shoulder affectionately, I just feel sorry for you. I think your child is too uncontested. In a place like the entertainment industry, people always fight to the death. They only see the benefits, but not the others. Friendly, with your temperament, it's easy to suffer big losses. Over there, Wen Qiao was surrounded by several senior executives of Beza magazine, talking and laughing. Editor-in-chief Wei of Beza, wearing a formal dress and holding a tall wine glass in his hand, walked over charmingly, put his arm around Wen Qiao's waist, and led her with him. He walked aside and said with a smile, I just saw Mr. Yang from Shenhua talking to Tong Wei from your company. Just to remind you, it's a way to save Wen Qiao's face. After all, Mr. Wen has a big backer behind him. Who wouldn't be happy with this kind of effort? Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 800. With a reminder, Editor-in-Chief Wei walked away swaying again. Wen Qiao held the wine glass and saw Yang Sheng and Tong Wei together in the southeast corner of the hall. Tong Wei answered, over there, I won't suffer any disadvantage, thank you Mr. Yang for your concern. Mr. Yang. Wen Qiao's voice sounded from behind Yang Sheng. After all, Yang Sheng was an old man in the entertainment industry. He was still poaching others, but when he saw Wen Qiao behind him, he didn't feel guilty at all and was smiling full of plastic sisters. Flower. Mr. Wen, he said, trying to grab Wen Qiao's hand. Wen Qiao held the wine glass in one hand and crossed his arm in the other, not giving her a chance at all. What are you talking about? You look like you're talking and laughing. Yang Sheng patted her shoulder gently, it's just a small talk. Okay, I have some entertainment, you can chat without disturbing me. He quickly withdrew. Wen Qiao took a sip of champagne and looked at Tong Wei. Tong Wei did not hesitate, Mr. Yang seems to be trying to poach me. Wen Qiao felt relieved. Tong Wei was willing to confess, which showed that her heart was with Nan Qiao. She was afraid that Tong Wei couldn't bear the loneliness, was jealous of Fang Duo, Dong Yao and the others' popularity, and resented that she had arranged such a lonely path for her. What do you mean? Wen Qiao leaned against the Roman column and looked at Tong Wei intently. Tong Wei was stunned for a moment, what do I mean? Do you have any ideas about the acting career I have arranged for you? Tong Wei said seriously, this is my favorite way. I have always been grateful to you. My personality is different from Fang Duo's, and I am not suitable to be a top player. I know that my temperament cannot attract many fanatic fans. Make calls for me, make data for me, make rankings for me. Mr. Wen, you are very good at adapting to local conditions, and the approach you give to every artist in the company is the most suitable for the person involved. This long paragraph was obviously spoken from the heart, and was not intended as a deliberate compliment. Wen Qiao was completely relieved, I'm afraid you have some ideas. Tong Wei sincerely said, I like how I am now. I also know that the scripts you give me are the most suitable for me. I can relax when I'm not working. I can occasionally wear a peaked cap and go out shopping. It's not too hot. I really like it. Being at the top is very tiring, and everything you say and do is attracting attention. Wen Qiao's eyes were firm, since you believe in me, I will do my best to promote you to the highest position. She feels that Tong Wei is expected to become the first 3-time Best Actress and Grand Slam winner. She will lead Nankiao Company to become the most powerful production base in the industry that cannot be underestimated. Tong Wei's expression was a little playful, and she clinked her wine glasses. Thank you, Mr. Wen, for your love. Bihai Road in Haikan is an entertainment company street. All entertainment companies with names in Haikan, big and small, are almost all on Bihai Road. It is almost like the Hollywood of Country M. It is also the largest entertainment industry base in China. Wen Qiao's Nanqiao Company is also located on Bihai Road. The pinnacle of Bihai Road's acting skills is respected by netizens as the Bihai Road Troika. One is teacher Xiao Zishan, who has worked with Tong Wei before. Xiao Zishan also acted in Xiaokong because of Fun Nanli's face. The second is Mr. Liang Junhao, whose studio is affiliated with Wanyi Media, the largest entertainment company. The third is Fu Nanli's cousin Song Minan from Chu Kinja Company. The 3 teachers are national actors. If they participate in a film, it is guaranteed to have a box office. I want to present a new troika.